Sounds good.
Yep.
Call the City of Westfield Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order for October 29, 2018. Please note the presence of a quorum.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you. On to action item number 1, the minutes of September 26, 2018. Having had opportunity to review those minutes, are there any additions, corrections, or comments?
I have none. I will move to accept.
I will second that motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving along to action item number 2, Westfield Boulevard connector from Park Street to David Brown Drive. NDOT LPA exchange contract.
Well, this is essentially this is just a supplemental for the NDOT LPA contract associated with Westfield Boulevard connector, which is State Road 32 to 169th Street. The only change that this is making is to the date. The original project date expired in June of 19. This is extending that time out to June of 21 to allow for us to accommodate some right-of-way acquisition delays that we've had.
Okay.
So no monetary change, nothing other than the date change. And I would show you that said date, except for the computer won't work.
Okay.
There we go. So yeah, the date is right here. Provisional date change from July of 18 through June of 21. It was originally
NDOT's okay with
16.
this?
Yes, yes. This is an NDOT contract. They agreed to it. So.
Very good. I'll move to accept the supplement number 1 to the LPA contract regarding, this is Westfield Boulevard extension?
Connector, yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll second that. I have a motion made and seconded to approve action item number 2, Westfield Boulevard connector. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. To action item number 3, North Street Reconstruction Preliminary Engineering Services.
Yeah, so this is for North Street from East Street over to the west to the alley connector on the west end of that street, just north of State Road 32 in our downtown area. Current condition of the street are less than good, I would say. It needs some attention, and we have in our plans to reconstruct those 2 blocks North Street. It would include new asphalt, curb and gutter, sidewalk for those 2 blocks. And I'll drive real quick, but limits being from this point on the west end over to East Street. We have this contract is for preliminary engineering services from Spires Engineering. Rusty is the guy that did our Sleepy Hollow storm project last year. We're going to retain his services for this design as well. The fee is very optimal for us. I mean, it's a very low fee for the work required, $33,800, which is more than fair, and he does a good job. So we recommend that we accept the professional services contract.
I understand we had very good results on the Sleepy Hollow project.
Yes.
That not only took care of Sleepy Hollow, but some surrounding areas as well in the drainage.
Yeah, there were some drainage improvements on North Street, and then also across the road there at Silver Lakes. Had some improvements as well. But yeah,
And it was a good design, and then also Wes Root on our staff did a great job communicating with the neighborhood.
Certainly better than the project to its north from a public relations standpoint.
which
Thank
one?
you.
Oh, Maple
Lane.
Maple Lane. Yeah.
Yes.
I remember that one.
Yeah, I do too.
It was less successful.
Yes. So, yeah, that was well done. I think I saw a email from you on the timing of this,
Yes.
which is something we'll need to obviously discuss. Unfortunately, those residents were expecting it last year.
They did have some improvements for drainage last year. We have block grant money to do the sidewalk. The heaviest cost is associated with the construction of the road. So we could do a phased approach potentially. It makes most sense from a cost perspective to do it at once.
Because I think this falls behind your 161 project.
I would agree.
Okay, if you could phase it, make progress, I think that would be ideal.
Okay. Yeah, and so this just gives us permission to move forward with the design so that we can do things and.
If, when we arrive on a more formal
Mhm.
phasing schedule, we'll use your PR skills to convey that to the neighborhood, please.
Very good.
Thank you. I will move to accept the consulting contract for the North Street project.
I will second that. To approve action item number 3, motion made and seconded, North Street Reconstruction Engineering Services. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to action item number 4, State Road 32 Reconstruction Preliminary Engineering Services.
So after the RFP process that we went forward with NDOT, as a reminder, NDOT had 2 scores and City of Westfield had 2 scores. We had several very good LOIs, letters of intent from consultants on this project. And we, after scoring, American Structure Point scored the highest on their LOIs, so we went into negotiations on fees associated with the scope of services for this State Road 32 project. As a reminder, this is a reconstruction from Poplar Street to East Street in our downtown corridor. This contract is for preliminary engineering services and right-of-way engineering for that project. It includes a full scope of design for State Road 32, as well as preliminary design for a Jersey Street extension, which would tie into that East Street roundabout. The overall fee has been reviewed both by the City of Westfield and by NDOT, and both entities agree that it is well within the range of what we'd expect for the size and scope of this project. Additionally, this fee is less than what we originally had estimated for design services for the project. So all in all, it's a win for the city, and we would recommend that this get approved so we can move forward with notice to proceed for survey for this project.
How much?
It is 1.1 million.
What?
The exact number is $1,197,205.
What do you do with all that money?
We're going to put it back into Westfield. So, as just a frame of reference, our original estimate for this design fee with right-of-way engineering was 1.45 million. So this is essentially under where we had conservatively estimated originally for this project.
I would make a motion, no change orders on this.
I'll accept that fee as long as the project doesn't go over budget, which will probably cost my political career what's left of it, so you do understand that.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
The only other thing I would like to add is that Structure Point was very willing to work with us. Their original proposal was about $100,000 higher. John and crew worked diligently with them to bring that down. So we negotiated down to $105,000, I believe.
Correct.
Good.
And I think it's a good proposal.
I will move to accept American Structure Point's proposal.
I will second that. Motion been made and seconded to approve action item number 4, 032 Reconstruction and Preliminary Engineering Services. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I have one other request on this, at the November, I think it is, November chamber meeting.
Yes, sir.
I'll be presenting the 32 project. If you could be sure I at least appear like I know what I'm talking about.
Would you all like to join us at that
What was that date?
lunch?
Yeah.
We'll send you an
I
invite.
believe it's the 15th,
15th?
November
Yeah,
15th. It's a Thursday.
Yeah, for $1 million contract, we'll be there.
And a free lunch.
Every one of them.
Yeah, I'd like to, sometime in the next week probably, is get with you and you two and kind of see what we do need for presentation wise. So please. John, if you'll
I will
Set
figure
that
out
up, please.
Yeah, I will coordinate that effort.
try to get off to a good start. There'll be a lot of questions, I'm sure.
May I, well, we'll talk about it later. Yes, proceed.
We good?
Yep,
All right, on to action item number 5, contract for goods and services between the City of Westfield and Merrill Brothers, Inc.
So back in June of 17, you all approved a contract for closure, remediation of our wastewater lagoons out back. The original contract amount was 1.428 million. After getting 2/3 of the way through that project, we realized that it was grossly underbid, which we are working through the details of that with the legal team. However, we are in a position where we have to finish the project. As such, the original vendor gave us an estimate or cost not to exceed $782,119 to finish out the lagoon. I'm bringing that to you all today for approval with my recommendation. I did get another estimate to take it from where it is today and finish it out, and that was estimated at 1.8 million. So this is still $1 million under that estimate.
pardon me, you got it from a different firm?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I got a different comparative number, which was $1 million higher than what they are giving us as a not to exceed. Overall, the project is going to be about 1.5 or 1.6 million dollars over budget. So we are gonna work through all the details from a legal perspective after we get the lagoon closed out, but we're in a position where we don't have a choice but to move forward. And
So, if you put the two contracts together, what's our total spend?
our total spend of the two contracts, contracted amounts would be $2.3 million, and then there is $1 million of work that $1 million of an invoice that we are going to negotiate on.
We're
So-
in mediation right now.
Mediation
Headed to
with-
mediation.
Yes, and what was your original budget for this project?
$1.5 million. So they came in at the original engineer's estimate,
Yeah.
which was their estimate, was $2 million
Okay,
to clean them up. After bids came in, they came in at 1.428 million underneath their estimate. We are in a position now when this thing's closed out, we will be at roughly 3.3 million total cost.
Which is what you had anticipated.
that's
prior
what I'm trying to
all of
get
this.
out of you. What was your original budget for the project?
$2 million.
I'm
So
mixed up.
the backstory on this is I hired Merrill Brothers to do an investigation of the ponds, figure out an initial estimate, put together a closure plan. That then I took to IDEM to get approved, which we
Yes.
did all of that. Out of that, they estimated the project at $2 million, $1 million each lagoon. I then hired a firm, Metric Environmental, to put together our bid packet and put together an engineer's estimate, an actual engineer's estimate on it. That engineer's estimate came out at about $5 million each.
That's what I thought.
Each lagoon. We then vetted that process out with the Merrill Brothers folks as the experts to put together our closure plan. They told me they were confident that it would not be more than $1 million per lagoon. So we sent it out to bid. We had about 5 companies come in for the pre-bid meeting. Most of them were very concerned about the $2 million engineer's estimate. None of them bid except for Merrill Brothers. And
But you said you had a $5 million estimate.
It was closer to 10 from Metric, yes. Yes. So. Everyone was grossly wrong, but we are now in a position where we have no choice to close these. So,
You have the money?
yes, we do. For this piece at least. we'll figure out the money for the other $1 million.
The negotiation.
Yeah.
Okay, I will move to accept the amendment number 1 to the lagoon contract.
Yeah.
All right, I'll second that. Motion made and seconded to approve action item number 5, contract for goods and services between the City of Westfield and Merrill Brothers, Inc. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to action item number 6. Contract for goods and services between City of Westfield and Midwest Paving, LLC, Midland Trace Trail Project.
Yes, this is a construction contract with Midwest Paving to reconstruct a section of the trail behind the City Services Center where we've had some trees that are coming through the pavement and pavement's in deteriorated condition. So our plan there is to reconstruct that section of the trail and also do some resurfacing along the trail just to the east of the Simon Moon Park. That's the first part of this project. The second part of the project is to construct a new section of the Midland from Mill Street, just running south of Park Street over to the new.
Well, that's part of this.
That's the second part of this. The construction of the trail behind the City Services Center will be done this year. The new section will be done next year once some clearing efforts done in that corridor where the trail is going to be done south of Park Street.
And citizens has to finish their force main in that location. That's why we
Right.
can't get that section done this year. We had to wait for citizens to complete.
Additionally, we are actively working to acquire the right-of-way down through there with the adjacent rail parcels, similar to what we've had to do over here. A long time ago, the rail corridor was vacated to the City of Noblesville. City of Noblesville does not claim any ownership to it. We have parceled out every piece to the adjacent owner, and we're working on getting through that.
Is that going to involve condemnation?
It should not.
Okay.
Most of the adjacent owners are happy to have the trail behind them. It's Restaurant Row. There's only a couple owners down through there at this point, 3 I think, and then we have the other side. So I don't foresee any condemnation needs back there, but it's hard to say.
But on this section back here that's so badly rutted, how do you prevent that in the future? Engineers.
Well, one thing that we're doing to prevent some of the trees from coming back is we're spraying a herbicide back there to try and kill anything that's going to be under there. And as well as we're doing a full depth reconstruction so we can try and lay a better sub base down underneath the pavement.
Okay. No further questions? I will move to accept the contract with Midwest Paving for the Midland projects.
I'll second that. So motion made and seconded to approve action item number 6, contract for goods and services between the City of Westfield and Midwest Paving for the Midland Trace Trail Project. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to change orders, action item number 7, 161st and Union Roundabout Phase 2, environmental assessment.
So, as you know, this is an intersection that's signalized currently. It's probably one of our worst intersections in the city as far as congestion goes in peak hours. We received NPO funding last year to put a roundabout at this location. As such, because of the federal dollars involved, we had to do an environmental document and follow the environmental process. In that environmental process, we did a phase 1 assessment of the site, and our environmental consultant found 30 to 40 artifacts on the northwest corner of that intersection. It's a wooded, if you go to that, it's a wooded parcel on the northwest corner. These artifacts were mostly ceramics, but potentially dating back to the 1840s. As such, NDOT looked at that and they asked us to do some additional investigation to ensure that we were not disturbing some kind of historical site. They asked us to do some additional title research, and in that title research, we learned that that parcel was actually owned by Ambrose Osborne, in 1837 to 1839. Ambrose is a founding member of the town of Westfield. So once we found that, we were asked to do a phase 2 assessment. And phase 2, just so we're clear, phase 2 assessment requires us to sample 10% of the site. Typically, if this were out in a field, you'd have an excavator pulling back the topsoil and doing a visual investigation. But because this is so wooded, we're actually going to have to use some different measures to do that sampling. Namely, they'll be doing geophysics, so metal detection and ground penetrating radar. And what they're going to be looking for is intact cellars, cisterns, evidence that there is potentially buried foundations or intact artifacts below the surface. I doubt that they will find anything, but again, they're required to do this as a phase 2 assessment. It's something that we can't get around. It is just a federal process that we have to follow. So what this change order is for that phase 2 assessment work, including the field work and the reports that go along with that phase 2 assessment. The total change order is $43,700. I did reach out to some other consultants to make sure that this is indeed in order with what we'd expect with the site, and the consensus was yes, that is actually a pretty good price for the assessment. So the schedule for this, if approved, would be to do this field work in the beginning week of Thanksgiving. And with that, we will be able to keep the project on track for the letting that we had originally anticipated, which was in the fall of 2020 to be constructing this roundabout.
Construction is fall of 2020?
Correct.
So it's a
Which is
21,
It's a year, yeah, and
it's
which
a 21 project. Okay,
yeah, a year advanced.
so we have to do another archaeological thing.
Correct. If
Is
it's
it-
Go ahead.
Is it strictly on property of our right of way, or it goes into private property?
It's on private property, but it's within the limits of the right of way we would have to acquire to construct the roundabout.
It is within the limits. of
Correct. It's
our
currently on
new
private
right-of-way.
property.
Okay.
It would be on public right of
I
way
got
once
you.
the roundabout was constructed.
And the owner has to obviously give us permission to do so?
We did reach out. It's actually owned by 2 banks.
If you can figure out who owns
We
this.
reached out to both, and we provided them a form. And if they didn't respond within 2 weeks, it gave us the ability to go do that work. So that's kind of the way they handle it when they have non-responsive owners.
Did they respond?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of.
Can I pose a question?
Huh? It works?
Did NDOT run into this very same thing as they acquired their right of way and built the roundabout and the ramp to the US 31?
I don't believe so, namely because the structure was actually closer to the intersection from where they disturbed for US 31. That's my understanding.
So they have no record of other artifacts within the limits of their right of
Not that
way?
I'm aware of.
Well, that's a good question. Has this already been done?
Not that I'm aware of in the area that they found the artifacts in our initial assessment.
So we're taking essentially this corner right here and a little bit more right here, I believe.
Mhm.
Yep.
Can you imagine in 1830 something, isn't that what you said? There was a cabin here.
Correct.
What was the oldest picture you had?
I didn't get that far. John started pressuring me to go back.
Well, I'm sure that GPS is.
There you are.
18,
Look, there's
20.
no woods there.
No, I understood from other historical people around here that, believe it or not, that whole area was as bare as a baby's butt not 100 years ago.
So in 1866, there was an old map that showed a structure existing there, but in 1906 it was gone. So it could be very true that 100 years ago it was bare, but 150 years ago there potentially was evidence
Yeah.
there could have been a structure there.
You remember when we had to dig at the corner of
Tomlinson and Blackburn.
and Blackburn? I mean, they must have found 100. What are they called? Arrowheads? What do they call them?
Arrowheads, but the artifacts, the
Yeah.
Native American
Oh my
artifacts.
gosh.
Yeah.
It
Let's
was,
hope we don't
it was
have-
interesting. I'd stop by and watch them. It was really interesting, but it didn't stop anything. Just another $43,000 to do what?
It's not a burial now.
to ensure that we're not disturbing a piece of Westfield's history and one of the founding members' properties.
Okay. And you were about to say if they find something?
If they were to find some kind of metal or something showing some kind of dense substructure, they're required to hand dig 1% of that property, like kind of how you see in the movies with archaeology. They'll set up the grid and be hand digging just to uncover exactly what they found. Hopefully with their resistivity and magnetometry testing, it'll show that there's nothing there and we can move forward. But it's something that we really can't get around. We're going to be required to do it.
Okay.
It's part of the federal process.
I move we accept your change order.
I will second that. Motion made and seconded to approve action item number 7, 161st and Union Roundabout Phase 2 Environmental Assessment. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And while we don't always need to discuss consent agenda items, I'm guessing maybe the chief wants to say something about the officers, or, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm seeking approval to promote Officer Josh Harrell to the rank of sergeant and Sergeant Eric Grimes to the rank of lieutenant. Going back a little bit, in May we initiated the promotion process using an outside firm called Testing for Public Safety LLC, doing business as IPSP. After a somewhat competitive process, which included written test, interview, and we were able to establish a eligibility list, of which Josh was number 1 for sergeants and Eric was number 1 for lieutenants. So we're just moving forward, trying to promote those 2 officers. So there was a domino effect. We have Mike Allen retiring the first of the year, so we moved Lieutenant Jim Lilly in to become the new accreditation manager, which opened up a position as a lieutenant on the road and created that domino effect. We also will be appointing Mike Vickroy to the rank of captain, so we'll have 3 separate divisions, so to speak. We've had a captain in charge of investigations, we have captain in patrol, and then now we have a captain in charge of special services. So some of the things that Mike will be in charge of will be kind of what he's kind of been doing already. He was in charge of special events. Whenever we had 4th of July, Colts camp, things like that, he's the manager of those events. He's going to be in charge of K-9 school safety, which includes the SROs, which we have 4 at this point, traffic, and training. So those will all fall under the special service unit.
Okay.
When will this take effect?
As soon as you say yes or no.
Very good. I move to accept the consent agenda.
I'll second that. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda as written. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to department reports. Chief Reed.
We're gonna do the bond or no?
That's consent.
It was taken off, evidently. It was on the one.
So, this is just overall calls for comparison for 17 and 18. Zoom up a little bit. Calls for the year up. That's just overall incidents.
Do you have the year-to-date on that?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
No, that's just for the month.
Okay.
I don't have year-to-date, I don't think we put that, we just do a comparison between fire EMS, the year-to-date stuff's coming. It's all tracking about how it should, to be quite honest. That's gonna be run, this is runs per station, if you wanna just take a quick look. Again, this is just for, per station this year and last year comparison. Grant Park, this is just for September, so while it says that we went to 57 calls, which we did through Grand Park this year, which is up. That's kind of the comparison of what we did for the month of September 6 and September 4 last year. Here's your year-to-date totals in graph form. That shows medical making up again about 60% of it. And then if you want to scroll down and get the actual numbers, here's what year-to-date we're at 2496. And these are just how they're classified in the INFRS national reporting system. And special incidents, that didn't go up there. We've been, obviously the mayor, we're working on an alarm component, but basically this talks a little bit about what our alarms are.
Are these false
So
alarms?
these, yeah, this is for 2018, this is for the year. So these are all false alarms. So
Of what? Different types?
different types. So you can get an alarm, just a simple malfunction. You can get it. This is a smoke detector was activated with a malfunction. Here's a heat thing went off, malfunction. Here's another alarm sounding. And then these all back here are basically alarm soundings with no fire. But you can just see where most of our activity is. Residential stuff. About 99.9% of that stuff are false alarms. Here's our commercial data. Same thing. So we're just tracking this. So,
So how many
overall.
total for 218 so far?
I don't have that total. Let's see if I put it down here. 76 commercial alarms.
76.
76 and 61 residential. What that make up is?
Through September, so
Through September.
divided by 9.
Correct. Property loss,
So about 8 a month.
property saved. Yep. Our care facility data, so we have, the blue is the month, so that's what we did in September. This is year to date, and then that's what we ran last year. So you can see we're on track to probably to meet or exceed everything that we did last year in terms of residential care stuff. The one piece I will have on next go around is how many beds those are, because as you know, the rule
It
of
doesn't
thumb,
mean anything, yeah. It's
well, the rule of thumb is however many beds are there, is that's how many calls you're probably going to generate in a year at that facility. And that's just tracking our mutual aid components. When we gave it, when we received it, for the month of September.
Where's what is that?
These
What
are
we-
these are for EMS calls. So automatically received from Carmel. So if they came in and took.
Okay, so they came in 10
they-
times.
Yes, correct, for the month.
Okay,
For the month.
and you're outbound?
And those are our outbounds. So there's a net 5 for the month of September for Carmel. Noblesville, what are they? Yeah, it's a net 4. And then Sheridan is always, they don't generally come into our area. The only other things that, I'd like to just kind of hit on real quickly and then we'll finish it up is obviously we just took delivery of a new medical unit, new ambulance as of last week. That should probably be able to put that in service mid-September, or excuse me, mid-November. We had Captain Gunning, of course, went on 2 deployments, and he's been returned since for the hurricanes down in Florida. And then the other piece, I think, is we received 2 grants for the opioid grants. And they're in combination with Carmel. So Carmel and Westfield, because of our community paramedicine programs, are going to take basically put what they're called quick response teams to deal with opioid crisis. So there's a state grant that we got for $50,000 that's just going to be used for Westfield specifically, and we're doing this in concert with the police department as well. And then there's a federal grant for $500,000. It's a 2-year grant that rolls, and that's going to be countywide. So we'll be serving Hamilton County in that context. That's all I got.
On the grant
Yes.
subject, with all of you that receive grants, please work carefully with our clerk treasurer on the process of reporting all these, and
Yep.
we're receiving some questions from the state auditor that we need to pick that up. So if you would all take time to work with her office
We've
very
worked through a
carefully,
few of those
please.
already.
Thank you.
It seems to change about every year, so
Right.
we make modifications and the auditor finds additional stuff.
Depending on whatever the
They
auditor
always do,
is.
and they always will. We just have to respond.
Anything else, sir?
Oh, no, sorry.
All right. Chief Rush?
We have Tyler Mitchell still at the Law Enforcement Academy. Devin Cornwell, who was the other one that was just hired, is in the last phase of FTO already. He's the one that came from Seymour, so he had quite a bit of time on our street. So it's a condensed field training. It's like 8 weeks. Matt Ford completed his SRO school or training, and he'll be in the intermediate school. Anwar is heading to canine training, where he'll train his no-name dog. Got some ideas about it. I don't know a name yet.
Tex?
I'm thinking maybe Lucky. So he'll go away for 3 weeks and then come back, and hopefully we'll get with Vicky and put something together from that. Other than that, Scott and I will be conducting testing for our next applicant process on the 10th of November. The high school, I think we're somewhere in the neighborhood of 140, 150 pre-apps for that. So not near as many as we used to, but that's pretty consistent with the way it is across the nation now. Everyone wants to be a cop. Fortunately, the ones that do want to be, it's a pretty good group of people, so we haven't had any problems finding good candidates. Other than that, that's it.
Anything?
No?
Okay. Jeremy?
Public Works wise, we have a new laborer in the street department. His name is, what's the name of the Hunter Plouffe.
New guy.
More commonly known as Mini Corn Dog, because his brother also works here, and his name is Corn Dog.
Hang on.
He's been a summer intern for us for 3 to 4 months now, so he's been here all summer. Just graduated high school last year, was planning to go to college, and has decided to build a career in public service. So he's going to stick around as a full-time staffer. The ribbon cutting, as you know, for the Monon was last week. Was it last week? But anyway. Week before?
Yep.
2 weeks ago. So the Monon is complete all the way up through Sheridan, which was pretty exciting. Next week we'll have groundbreaking for the bridge, Monon Phase 5. So, other than that, we are prepping for winter, closing down parks, starting up snowplow trucks. Got salt rolling in today, filling the barn up. Preparing for the earliest winter we've seen in a while. So.
It's gonna be 65 tomorrow though.
Beautiful. Maybe we'll get some pavement down somewhere.
Yeah, enjoy tomorrow, though.
one other piece is Town Road, which is a project that you all approved from 156 to 166. It's been under construction for a period of time. It was broken into 2 phases, north and a south. The south phase is wrapping up, and then we're gonna open the whole road back up, finish the northern section in the spring. So if you're out that way, you'll see a nice looking new section of road that will get continued out in the spring.
Is it open?
It is, when are they striping that?
Once they stripe it, I think that's this week, depending on temperature, it'll be open. If we have 65-degree weather, they'll stripe it tomorrow.
Yeah. And then once they're striped, they'll open up barricades, get out of the way for a few months.
Are you finished painting all over?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
I think there may be some plastic markings that need to go down for turn arrows that I saw last week, but for the most part, it's wrapping up, yes.
Anything else?
No?
All right, no further business. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Adjourn. 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 Adjourn.